Okay, 10.3, charting a budget. So this is really important if you are incredibly artistic and organized and like doing budgets. So I've never personally made one of these graphs for myself, but it does look really nice. And basically how it works is you divide up your budget into percentages. So how much money you make, you divide each section gets a certain percentage of your money. So this person has 10% of their money in savings, 5% in health costs, 5% in miscellaneous, 15% for transportation, 25% for education, and 40% for household, which is probably like groceries and cleaning supplies, things like that. So let's look at some examples. So if we have Beth is a coffee lover, in her budget, Beth has a section for coffee. She had budgeted $90 per month to spend on coffee. She buys at 2 different locations. At GasMart, or let's call this QT, coffee costs $1. And at the Perfect Cup, let's call this Starbucks, a cup costs $3. She tries to balance both through a month. Construct a budget line that shows the different combinations of the two types of coffee purchase options, which allow her to stay within the budget. Then suppose she has to decrease her coffee budget by 20%. So we can make some lines here, make a little graph. And let's call this bottom one Starbucks. And the top one QT. So if she has $90 and she goes only to QT, how many cups can she get? So $90 divided by 1 is 90. For Starbucks, she can get each one for $3. So $90 divided by 3 is 30. And all we would do then is draw a straight line between these 2 points. So anywhere below this line is under her budget, anywhere on the line is in her budget, and anything over the line is out of her budget. So let's say she did 15 cups at Starbucks. How many could she get at QT? So we would look at 15 times $3 is 45. And then if we took $90 minus $45, she could afford 45 cups at QT. So at this point it would be 15 Starbucks cups, 45 QT cups. And that would be right on her budget line. Construct a budget line that shows the different combinations of 2 types of coffee purchase options, which allow her to stay within the budget. Then suppose she has to decrease her coffee budget by 20%. So let's find 20% of $90, which would be 18. Or probably an easier way would have been to multiply by 80%, 100 minus 20. But let's just go ahead and finish it since we did it this way. So 90 minus 18 is 72. And then the faster way, we just would have taken 90 multiplied by 80%. Same answer. All right, so let's make a new graph for a budget of $72. So 72 Starbucks and QT. So if she just went to all Starbucks for all of them, we would take $72, or $72 divided by $3, and we would get 24. So this point would be 0, or 24, 0. And if she went all to QT, 72 divided by 1 is 72. And this point would be 0, 72. There we go. So any point below this line is in her new budget. Anything above it is out of her budget. All right. So this was just going over calculating that line. If we wanted to calculate what the slope is, what we would do is set up an equation. So basically what this is saying here is the cost of going to QT times how many times she goes to QT plus the cost of going to Starbucks times the amount of time she goes to Starbucks equals her budget, and that would make the line. So if you plug in for X, we did Starbucks. So Starbucks for X, and ours will actually be different. So we did this flip from the last time I did it. So if we plug in $3 for Starbucks, cost C of X equals 3, and C of Y equals 1, we can actually just solve for Y. The budget was 72. So if we just plug in our numbers here, we'd have 3x plus 1y equals 72. And we just have to solve for y. So I would subtract 3x on both sides, which would give me y equals negative 3x plus 72. And that would give you the equation of your line right here. All right. So this one, they put Starbucks as the Y value and QT as the X value. And this is what it would look like if you charted it in Excel and then created a chart there. All right, so extra examples. So this is what it's going to look like on the test. Ms. Dirt budgets $135 a month for entertainment. She's allocated $12 for the movies and $30 for dining out. She constructs the following budget line graph to represent the situation, where X is the number of movies and Y is the number of times she dines out a month. Does the combination 9-2 fall within her budgeted amount for entertainment? All right, so just take a second. Let's pause the video for a minute or two while you guys try this problem out. And then we'll go over it. All right, so it said that X is the number of movies. So I'm going to put movies here. And Y is the number of times she dines out. Does the combination 9-2 fall within her budgeted amount for entertainment? So I'm just going to count over 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and up to 1, 2. So there's our point. Is that under her budget line? Is that under this budget line? Answer, no, it's above it. So does the combination fall within her budgeted amount for entertainment? No. There you go. And you could explain this a little bit better. So each time she goes to the movies is $12. So 9 times 12 plus 2 times going out to eat, which costs $30. So 2 times 30. So if we add those up, 9 times 12 plus 2 times 30, we get 168. So if we wanted to elaborate a little more, we could say, no. No. $168 is more than the 135 she budgeted for entertainment. That is a nice looking answer. All right, so that's it for 10.3. Let's do the classwork, problems 4, 7, and 9. All right, so let's go ahead and pause the video, take some time to watch these, or to try these problems, get them done. Make sure on the top of your paper you put your name, 10.3, and your period.
You only leave it in the report.
All right. Make sure the video is paused so you've completed all of the problems. Okay, so problem 4. Use the pie chart of a monthly entertainment budget. Suppose $600 was budgeted. Determine the exact amount for each category. So all we're going to do here is multiply 600 by each of the percentages in the pie chart. And that will give us the amount for each one. So vacation is 40%, so I'm going to multiply 600 times 0.40, or 40%, and I get 240. And then I'm just going to keep going around the pie chart, filling in my answers. So concerts is 20%, so I multiply by 0.20. Weekend is 10%, so I multiply it by 20%. Day trip was 10%, so I multiplied by 10%. Movies was 10%, so I multiplied by 10%. Suppose 310 was budgeted for the summer vacation fund. What would be the total amount budgeted for entertainment? So the total times summer vacation. So I look back up here. Summer vacation was 40%. So I'm going to multiply the total by 0.40, and that would give me 310. So how do I get the total by itself? So I have the total times 40%. So the opposite of that would be divide by 40%. I do it on one side, I need to do it to the other. So these would cancel out. And if I take 310 divided by 0.4, I get 775. Construct a pie chart that shows the following transportation-related expenses. So most people would probably do this on their computer. But if you wanted to get an exact pie chart, you would first use a compass. And you would put the point of the compass, the center where you want to make a circle, extend it out as big as you want, and then you would draw a circle. The next step, you would want to figure out what the total amount all of these costs are, so we can figure out the percentages that we need to use. So I would add up each of the amounts that we use for transportation: fuel, insurance, public transportation, parking garage, and repairs. So I add them all up: 240 plus 80 plus 200 plus 120 plus 160, and it equals 800. So then I get the percents for each one. So fuel is $240. So I would divide 240 by 800 and get 30%. Then I would follow those same steps. Insurance is 80 divided by 800, 10%. Transportation is 200 divided by 800, 25%. Parking, 15%, and repairs, 20%. And what you could do then is you could kind of estimate. So I know transportation is 25%, which is a quarter. So I could just kind of guess that's about a quarter and put 25%, and then put transportation. You could then guess 30% is going to be a little bit bigger than 25%. So make it just slightly bigger, maybe a little bit more than that. And that would be 30% fuel. Then we also have 20% for repairs. So the 30% and the 20% should make half of a circle. So you could put this one at 20%. And then you could cut this other 25% into 10% and 15%. So let's say that's probably probably 15% and 10%. And then 15 was parking. And 10% was insurance. To do the bar chart, all you do is look at what the highest value is going to be. So if I look across here, 650, 650. So 650 is the highest value that I see. So I'm going to make a chart that goes up at least to 650. So obviously I'm not going to go by ones because it would be way too big. Then I'm going to also look at what I should put on my x-axis. So I'm going to need one for each month. So I'm just going to write out each month along the x-axis. And then you just match up the numbers. So January was 400. So I'm going to go up about to 400 and make a box. Then February was 550. So I'm going to go up to 550 and make a box there. March 400, and you just keep on repeating the process. 650 for April, 400 for May, 350 for June, July is 200. So I would make a box that goes up to there. And you just go all the way through until you have all of them inputted in. All right. And that's it for today. If you have any homeworks that you haven't turned in yet, any assignments, make sure you get those done now and turned in so that while you have some extra time. And that'll do it. Have a great day.